Good morning. I want to welcome you all here to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. We're back with that series that we're doing for the month of August, my favorite 4-album runs. I'm just going to grab my book here. So we are on August the 20th, obviously. This is August the 20th today. And we're going with group number 12, or run number 12, I guess you might want to call it. So this comes from a band that I love, many people in the prog community love. For a lot of people, they think of this as the progressive rock band, the greatest progressive rock band of all time. I'm not going to argue with that. This particular run is absolutely killer. I love it. Probably should have been higher, but a lot of it's kind of faded over time because I played it a lot earlier on in my life and not so much later. But I'm going to start. And the funny part is the first two albums are considered ones for me. The back two are considered drawing a blank. It's so dumb sometimes. Are considered masterpieces. But a lot of people probably would have this reversed. So the first album in the run is this album, Relayer from Yes. Other than the fact that it's an absolute killer album cover, one of the best in the Yes discography. A little bit of a gray feel to it, but this album is progressive, absolutely progressive, but also a lot of that jazz fusion element on this album as well, which probably explains why I didn't like it initially. It took quite a few years for me to really like this album. Now I love it, but back probably took a good 10 years of periodically listening to it till I started to really grasp onto it. And I actually had this album originally in 8-track of all things. So it was kind of a strange kind of feeling when the thing would break in half right in the middle of Gates of Delirium. But I've since owned this. I've had this now in CD for some time now. So absolutely killer. It's got 3 of the best Yes tracks on here. Gates of Delirium, which is the opening track, and the one side. Excuse me. One side of an album, absolutely killer. Eddie Offord doing the production here along with Yes. It's absolutely killer album. The one and only album featuring Patrick Moraz on it as well. Kind of, in some ways, it would have been nice for him to do another one with them, but then, it took me so long to get into this album, I didn't really want to go through that again. Sound Chaser is one of the best Steve Howe guitar parts of any album, anywhere, at any time, I think. And then To Be Over is that kind of And You and I feel to it. So this album has a lot of similarities between it and Close to the Edge, but a much more jazzy flavor to it, maybe a little bit more electronic flavor to it as well, and quite heavy at times. So Relayer opens this 4-album run here. The next album up is Going for the One, of course. Came out in 1977. Going for the One, kind of it's a lot different than Relayer, other than the album cover, which is more geometric. It's just kind of a strange cover, really. I don't know why you need to see a guy's rear end on the cover of an album, but I guess Rush did the same thing almost the same year, so I'm not really sure. Maybe it was something going on in the food, I'm not sure. Anyways, Going for the One was the kind of the track that, it's the title track. It got a lot of airplay as well as Parallels. These are a little bit more kind of mainstreamish. I wouldn't say they're over mainstreamish, but they are turn of the century, a little bit of a classical bit. Quite like this song a lot, too. It's one of my favorite Yes songs. Wondrous Stories, more of a John Anderson type song, but really good. The vocals are strong. I do like it a lot. And then Awaken, which is an absolute masterpiece of prog rock epics. Just a killer song, which really to me is outstanding. It's the outstanding track on this album by quite a bit. The rest of the songs are good to great. This album at some point will be up for masterpiece induction for me. I'm not sure it'll make it, but it's a great album for the number 2 slot here. The third album up is my first of the 2 masterpieces. I love this album. I know it takes some heat from Yes fans. It takes some heat from the prog world. Some people think that the album cover is stupid. Yeah, they might be right. I'm not sure what they were attempting to accomplish that. The album is kind of disjointed. It's a bit thin in spots. But to me, it's still a masterpiece because I love almost all the songs on here. It's lessened over time, but I still love Future Chimes and Rejoice, the 2-parter at the beginning. I think that's one of the best openings by Yes. Don't Kill the Whale. This is a song that got quite a bit of airplay. Mad Rigel, same as Rush. They both had a Mad Rigel of the same year. Kind of another strange coincidence. Well, actually, the Mad Rigel on this one is in 78, and the one on that one is in 77. So it's kind of a weird thing going on between these 2 bands. Release. I like this a lot when I first heard it. I like that little drum roll part there. It hasn't done as well in recent years. The backside's a little stronger for me with Release starting it off, and then Arriving UFO. This is a killer track. I know that it takes a bit of heat as well, but I like it a lot. Circus of Heaven, of course, many people hate, but it's one of my favorite tracks. I love John Anderson's vocals in this. I think the song has a little bit of an up-tempo beat to it, which is a little bit different. Onward I could do without, but On the Silent Wings of Freedom, end off the album the same as going for the 1 to another epic progressive rock. Just great tune on the Silent Wings of Freedom. To me, one of the most underrated Yes songs of all time. And then the last album in the run is Drama. Now this one's quite a bit different than the other 3, although they're all quite different. There's not a lot of commonality between the 4 albums other than their Yes albums. Machine Messiah, really heavy, catchy as hell. One of the great prog songs, I think, of all time. And then you've got White Car, which is that part that I can't get out of my head. Doesn't Really Happen. Another underrated Yes song, I think. Then you got the backside album, Into the Lens. I like that. That was initially my favorite song on the album. Run Through the Light is a little bit of a different type of feel to it. To me, it doesn't really sound like a Yes song, but it's a fantastic tune nevertheless. And then ends off once again with the best song on the album, Tempest Fugit. Absolutely killer song. The bass tempo and the guitar sounds on this album are fantastic. I think this is an underrated album. I think it's one of Yes's better albums. Clearly, I think it's the best of these 4 as well. And of course, it doesn't feature John Anderson or Rick Wakeman, so it's a little bit different. The 2 middle albums have Wakeman on it and John Anderson. And the Real Air has Patrick Moraz on the keyboards as opposed to Wakeman. But overall, very strong albums. This is one of the great 4 album runs of all time. Yes's Real Air, Going for the One, Tormato or Tormato, whatever you want to say. I say potato, you say potato, that type of thing. And then, of course, the Trevor Horn vocaled Drama. Absolutely killer. One of the heavier Yes albums, too. I really like the Steve Howe's guitar tone on that as well. So there you have it. My number 12. Is that number 12? Yes, number 12 on my favorite 4 album runs for the month of August. I hope to see you again tomorrow for yet another one. So have yourself a good day. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe and put your comments below. And we will see you for day 11 tomorrow. Goodbye.